here is that being on the play is more significant than the mulligan to 5.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Away we go. Tom Ross going to sacrifice that wooded foothills, get a basic mountain. Matthaei looking to play spoiler here with the Tarka red. Though it will be difficult on mulligan to 5, but we'll see what he can do. There's a Monastery Swiftspear. Great start here for Tom.
Best card in the mirror besides the combo is the trump, but Swiftspear, you had to kill right away. You could never block this thing if they had mana up.
Bloodstained Mire here from Matthaei. There is a mountain. Does he have a creature, maybe a wild / fiery impulse? We'll see. He'll go with a wild /. Get that thing off the table right now. Over to Ross we'll go. Wooded Foothills the draw for him. Hand is a touch land heavy with a Windswept Heath, a mountain, and a Wooded Foothills. He'll sacrifice his Foothills. I think we'll have a mountain on the way here yet again. And there's Dragon Fodder. So a couple 1/1s on the way. Wooded Foothills here from Matthaei. He'll go with the Swiftspear. You can see his hand, a Tarka's Command, Titan Strength, and a Windswept Heath. And Tom says, no blocks.
Don't even try. Yeah. Just do not bother.
Just take the 1.
Yep.
Bloodstained Mire the draw here for Ross.
Something to keep in mind when I'm talking about how difficult it is to interact with the combo. There are hands from here where Matthaei can kill the next turn.
Mm-hmm. That's horrifying.
He can easily get to the requisite cards in his graveyard where Temur Battle Rage and Become Immense are lethal.
And for what it's worth, Tom has a Temur Battle Rage in his hand, and if he draws Become Immense, the game ends.
Yep. So even on a 5-card hand and an innocuous start, you know, Matthaei attacked for 1 with a Swiftspear. Tom's taking a couple fetch land points. He can die right now. The first time you get killed this way, it's annoying because it feels so unlikely. The 5th time you get killed from the spot, it's like, oh, maybe this is just something that happens in the matchup.
Yeah. Maybe this is what the deck is designed to do.
Yeah.
Titan Strength on the upkeep, going to control the draw step here from Matthaei. Going to play a Windswept Heath. Here comes the large Monastery Mentor. 5-power creature right now. And now there's a Windswept Heath. Looks like a couple cards dropped there as Matthaei is going to do some fetching here in just a moment.
Yeah, Tom was safe there. He's falling to 12. That means that even if Matthaei's leftovers were Titan Strength and Become Immense, that would be short. That would only knock Tom to 1. So it's a safe no block.
Safe.
It's safe.
It is. You are right. It's just funny that that's safe.
He can't die on the 3rd turn after his opponent mulliganed to 5 and killed something on the 1st turn instead of playing a threat.
Here's an Abbot Carol Keep. Dragon Fodder going to bite the dust, pass the turn back. Do you like Abbot there?
Can't really take it with you.
So just might as well play it?
Well, with the Tarka's Command in hand, I think Matthaei has to be hoping that he draws a spell next turn. And if he's going to draw a spell next turn, then he's not casting the Abbot the next turn. So he's just got to cast it now.
Cinderglade is what Tom has found. So what comes next? Remember, Tom's hand pretty land heavy right now. You can see the Teamer Battle Rage. That's a mountain. It's Teamer Battle Rage 4 lands. But Matthaei doesn't know that.
The other side of it is, though, I think Ross probably suspects that Matthaei doesn't have one of the big pump spells in hand, because that probably would have been preferable to cast last turn instead of the Abbot. Not sure how much Ross is going to respect the possibility of getting killed on the way back at this point.
I just kind of want to attack with everything.
That's all I ever want to do in the matchup anyway.
Yeah.
With the exception of really weird corner case scenarios where the math works out just right that you can afford to hang back and block.
It's just so hard to play D. And an attack like this, Matthaei's just not going to block, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, they can't actually... Ross definitely doesn't have the nuts right now because he would just attack with everything and win the game.
Yep.
So Matthaei can take that off the table.
So he's just going to take 2. And there's a land, pass the turn back.
Mattei's last card in hand is a Target's Command, so he's just got to kind of leave himself with enough stuff in play to be able to play on. He can't afford to trade.
Target's Command was the draw here for Matthaei.
So the play this turn is probably attack with everything, a Target's Command no matter what Tom does, and just hope that everything works out okay.
Yeah, you don't die.
Hope you win in combat, hope you don't die on the way back, because it's so hard to play around everything that Ross could potentially have.
Now, by my math, with a Target's Command, it's going to be 10. So it's not going to be lethal. And now here is a Target's Command. Now this Abbot, assuming the modes are +1/+1 and deal 3, Abbot's going to become a 4/3, and Tom can play Teamer Battle Rage defensively to give his creature first strike and make it a 3-power creature.
Yes, he can.
I don't know if that's the best use of resources, but it's an option for him. Yep, so he's going to use Teamer Battle Rage defensively. And this actually lets his Abbot win in combat. And now he'll take the damage from the Monastery Swift Spear. But this exchange doesn't seem bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. He does lose out, I think, on the Become Immense being a draw to kill immediately. And I think he may have just drawn a Teamer Battle Rage for the turn. Okay, Dragon Fodder to the draw. Okay, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think Tom will just Dragon Fodder here, probably attack.
Yep.
A Target's Command. Excuse me, Teamer, he does not have
His hand is lands.
Okay, then this is the best he can do. Just
Yeah.
attack and chump block and hope that he gets out.
Mountain the draw. Seven to 5.
So this might be a point where Matthaei pumps the brakes because he can block. He has to assume Ross's hand has nothing in it. He can block and a Target's Command to win inside of combat. If Tom gets really sloppy, he might just be able to win on the way back. And even if Tom has some stuff left over, Matthaei can hope to draw a Target's Command because he can knock Tom down to 2 by just casting the command.
Wild Slash will do it too.
Yeah, so he can hang back, hope that he gets out of this turn, and then he's drawing live next turn.
And as the board currently sits, Tom, because I think he just drew another land, doesn't have particularly good attacks. Yeah, the only good attack that I see here from Tom is just the Abbot.
Yeah, and attacking with just the Abbot here is a little mopey. You can attack with everything but one Goblin.
Okay.
That punches through some damage. It's very good if Matthaei has nothing going on. And it's unlikely you die on the way back because you at least have a blocker. And Teamer Battle Rage doesn't kill you because it's not enough on its own to trample over the one token that's left over. You can lose to some things like a removal spell and a Target's Command doing it this way. But Tom can't sit on defense for forever.
Well, Tom's going to sit on defense for this turn. And if you're Matthaei, I don't know if you have to cast a Tarkus Command this turn, because if he doesn't, if he just holds it, then a Tarkus Command drawn this turn isn't lethal. Now that was Become Immense, because that's a green card.
Yeah, that's no help here, though it does mean that Temur Battle Rage next turn is a kill.
Mm-hmm. There's a mountain.
It's very close. I think my play last turn would have been send everything but one Goblin.
Didn't get a great look at Tom's draw.
But at 5 to 7 with this board, I think Tom might have just felt like I have the better of it with most draw steps.
And Tom's got a lot of live draws. Tarkus Command's lights out.
Yeah,
Become Immense is lights out.
Most of the good cards in this spot are just immediate kills.
Yeah. Abbott is redraws and then maybe lights out draws. But again, it's unclear what Ross did draw this turn. All right, just Abbott. Curious to see what Matthaei wants to do here.
I'm probably going to just, in Matthaei's spot, I would probably block and play a Tarkus Command.
Okay.
If Ross drew something good, it's hard to imagine that he's attacking with just Abbott. You need to free up your green mana anyway, because you have Become Immense in your hand. So now is as good a time as any to cast your copy of a Tarkus Command. You're still drawing live for the combo. And this attack from Tom probably represents that not much is going on in his hand.
But there are a lot of variables to think about, especially if you're unfamiliar with how the mirror plays out. Looks like 2 damage is going to come through. I think Matthaei's going to fire off a Tarkus Command now. Yep. Going to put Ross down at 2. Wild Slash, a Tarkus Command, those are wins right away here for Matthaei. Draw a card. Zergo, not so much.
Zergo is among the weakest cards in the mirror match because it often can't block anything. This is one of the spots where it's acceptable because there's a lot of tokens on the other side of the table.
It looks like it's going to be dashed. Well, you're blocking.
Yeah.
It's unclear with how much stuff you're blocking with, but you're blocking.
I'm guessing just, well, it could be 1 or 2. I don't think there's a big difference between 1 or 2 tokens at this point for Tom. A good draw kills Matthaei, and a miss is a miss.
Mm-hmm.
I think a double block is what I would do.
Okay. There's a double block, 2 goblins down. Pass the turn back. Big draw here, big draw. Could maybe crack a fetch to thin his deck out a little bit. Draw a card. I think the way he's moving, that was something. Swift Spear. Everyone's coming in now. That means he's got a spell in his hand. And if that's the case, yeah. So maybe at some point Tom was playing around a card like Wild Slash or Fiery Impulse, something like that. I think he's just taking him off the table now.
That's the most common scenario when someone kind of holds the brakes with a good card in their good cards in their hand.
Yep.
I have often found that to just be a losing proposition because of how good the combo is. But it would explain why Ross has been holding tight if he's had spells in his hands the last couple turns.
Yeah, here's Become Immense. And this is an attempt for it to be lethal. And that's going to get the job done. Tom Ross going to win game number 1 here over Matthaei. The Atarka Red Mirror is a very close one, but the Become Immense is going to get the job done for the boss. He's up a game now. That means we're going to take a look at Matthaei and his sideboard first with a Fiery Impulse, a Hordeling Outburst, an Outpost Siege, 2 Active Treason, 2 Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh, 4 Rending Volley, 4 Roast.
So you want a little bit more removal here. The 1 copy of Fiery Impulse, I think you can do a little bit of roasting here, but easy to go overboard with that. 1 copy of Hordeling Outburst is very good in the mirror match. You know, typically, red mirrors, you think about Outpost Siege, the game slows down, there's a lot of removal spells floating around. this is not that kind of matchup as you saw. Matthaei mulligan to 5 that game, you could barely tell. Eventually the game just came down to whoever could piece the combo together first.
Other side of things here for Ross, 2 Den Protectors, 2 Fiery Impulse, 3 Rending Volley, 2 Chandra Fire Calabadesh, 2 Boiling Earth, which could be a big one here, a Vault Breaker, and 3 Roast.
So love the 3 copies of Fiery Impulse. Just want more shocks in the matchup. Boiling Earth has moments of being very, very good. It's so good in the token battles. The downside is that it's trumped pretty easily by a Tarkus command in a bunch of spots, so it's not a guaranteed lights out draw, but certainly worth bringing in here.
Yeah, that sort of effect, I think, of the previous Tarka red deck, where Scouring Sands was a sideboard card.
Yep.
Hall of Triumph was a way to kind of mitigate that, but also make your tokens better than your opponents. So there are token draws, but this is a different Tarka red deck.
Exactly.
Those are the options there for both players. So, boy, that game, that was a mulligan of 5 that was intense.
The combo trumps everything by such a degree that things like mulligans, missed land drops early on in the game, they can feel irrelevant by the time you get to turn 5 or turn 6. It really just comes down to who can piece it together first.
Game 2 will be on the way here in just a moment. Matthaei will be on the play. We're going to talk about the Star City Games holiday sale very quickly here, as a lot of cool stuff going on for the entire month of December.
A lot of sales right now going on rares, 50% off select rares. Go to the website. There's a variety of things on sale. New items get added to the website 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday for the duration of the month. And we have a variety of stocking stuffers.
It's tough. It's tough.
Alliterative. Like figurines, sleeves, deck boxes, extended art, Battle for Zendikar lands, and so forth. So make sure to be checking back to the website every day. Again, 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. New items will go on sale.
You thought Pingouin Click was hard? No.
Stocking stuffers.
Stocking stuffers.
Yeah, got it. We're there now. We got it.
Game 2 about to be underway here between Tom Ross and Matthaei. Top 8 implications on the line. For those of you just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan in the booth. Star City Games Open Series here in Denver. It's our last standalone Open of the year before we do head to Las Vegas for our Season 4 Invitational. For Ross, it's an 8-1 start yesterday. Lost to Logan Mize, who's in the top 8, and his good friend Todd Anderson, who is also in the top 8. For Tom, he's number 8 on our Season 4 leaderboard. The race has gotten so tight for the Players' Championship, especially with Logan putting up the performance he has this weekend. We know that Logan's in the top 8 along with Ali Marino, Paul Bradford, Todd Anderson, Vikram Kudva, and it looks like Zach Mendelblatt. Tom, if he wins this match, he can lock it up. And then Joe Lissette and James Wynn are playing in our backup match. For Joe, he's X2-2 coming into the round. If he gets the win, it's likely that he's in. For James, he's in obviously with a win. So it's a big match for Joe as well because things have gotten super tight with this race to Roanoke.
So Joe was in 10th place coming into the round. If he can't top 8, it's just a function of there being too many X3s that are in the elimination round. So Joe doesn't have a lot of control of the situation. He can win and just hope that an X3-1 would have snuck in, but since he's X2-2, he gets the slot instead.
So that'll give you an idea of exactly where we're at right now. We could have the potential right now with Logan Mize, Todd Anderson, Tom Ross, and Joe Lissette all making the top 8 here this weekend. All players that are craving Open Series points to qualify for the Players' Championship. Every win and loss is brutal right now. Matthaei looking to upend Tom Ross. He wants to play in the top 8 later this evening. He's going to keep 7 cards this go around. Start by sacrificing a Wooded Foothills. Basic Mountain on the way as he falls down to 19. And we'll see what the turn 1 play is going to be. And it's a Zergo. So we go over to Tom Ross. He'll draw a card. Does have a copy of Wild Slash and picked up a copy of Abbot of Carroll Keep. A basic Mountain. Wild Slash will take care of the 2/2. Back over to Matthaei we go. Mountain the draw for him. He'll play a Mountain. We'll see what the turn 2 play is. Oh boy, a couple copies of Swift Spirit. I know you say this card's fantastic in the mirror.
It's so important. And I do like the play there from Ross. I think in general, you're better off just trying to keep the board clear and hoping that they just don't have that many creatures left over in their hand than trying to trap a creature inside of combat using a shot to trump a pump spell. The latter comes up very rarely.
Tom going to sacrifice a Wooded Foot. He'll search up a basic Mountain as he falls down to 17.
But I get plenty of opening hands with this deck. There's only one creature. And that creature dies, my hand's pump spells and shocks.
Sure.
Doesn't really go anywhere.
Well, a couple of removal spells are going to kill those as well. You can see why Tom kept this hand. Get these creatures off the board, but the kind of card that blows us up is Dragon Fodder or Hordeling Outburst. Hordeling Outburst was Matthaei's draw this turn. Here's an Abbot of Carroll Keep. He'll take a look. It's a Fiery Impulse. That's a miss, and we're going to pass the turn back over to Ross. Ross already has the forest in his hand, picked up a mountain for the turn. We'll see if maybe he has a token maker. He'll go with Abbott, take a look at that top card, it's Zergo. He can play that, given that he has a mountain in his hand. And he will cast the 2/2 legendary creature. We're going to hand it back over to Matthaei now. Matthaei will draw a copy of Cinderglade. That'll give him the green mana and a third land. Best of all, on the battlefield untapped for either Chandra or Hordeling Outburst. As far as Chandra in the mirror, how does that one play out?
It's not a card that I have boarded in just because there's so many shocks floating around. Its ceiling's high. If you get it to flip, it's pretty awesome, but I'm not really in the market for 3 mana creatures that can be targeted by shocks.
Here comes Abbott. Trying to block a prowess creature, never fun.
Just don't bother.
Yeah. Here's Chandra. Gonna try to get that on now.
Though with Ross having played as many shocks as he has, this could be a pretty good spot for Chandra. Reasonable chance this sticks.
Yeah, 2 Wild Slashes and a Fiery Impulse already down. They only have so many.
I think on the draw, when Ross has positioned himself as being this much of a control deck, he should consider removing some copies, if not all copies, of Atarka's Command. Because he has Boiling Earth, he already has a natural trump to the tokens in the matchup. He can just kill all of his opponent's tokens. Atarka's Command is at his best in the token battles. And, you know, right now, Matthaei is at 19. This is probably 2 ships passing in the night sort of stuff. Not sure what to make of defensive Zergo here. We'll find out in a minute.
I'm a little taken aback.
Okay. Want to see where this is going. Because it can't block anything.
No. And he's got a backup Zergo in hand. Your guess is as good as mine. Chandra going to strike for 1. Here's Hordeling Outburst. That's going to resolve. 3 goblins on the way. And now coming into the red zone. All the damage will be dealt. Now Chandra's going to... Oh, boy. That's going to flip.
I'm not sure that's the case. I think Chandra has to actually activate for the ping to trigger. Because that's all rolled into the tap power.
Yep.
This came up for me on Magic Online recently, so I'm confident this works because this same interaction got me in some trouble.
Sounds like this is a game you lost.
No, I didn't, because I had Chandra and didn't die, so it didn't matter.
Oh, okay,
but
fair enough.
But I assumed that I would ping, attack in combat, and it would flip. No, that flip is tied to the activated power, just like Jace.
Got it. I'm trying to figure out what that Zergo play was last turn.
Tom Ross is a crafty man.
No doubt.
Even with that said, I am not certain what was going on there, unless he was playing around Swift Spear or Lightning Berserker and no spell. Lightning Berserker usually the first card to get cut in the mirror match.
Yep.
Swift Spear unlikely to be blocked anyway because you just play a spell before combat.
Players with a modern IQ, that is time for the round. Active player, finish your turn, and then start 5 turns.
So now Tom way behind, and Chandra was very problematic when the game gets to be this sort of thing.
Swift Spear. I'm fairly sure he has Boiling Earth in hand.
Boiling Earth is...
Boiling Earth is a thing of beauty right now.
It's not an A+ every single time, but sometimes it is. It's one of those spots.
Gonna kill a bunch of stuff. And now what's attacking is the question. Because you have to imagine something's coming through.
He can't do anything about the combo.
Never can.
He can beat Become Immense and no red spell, because that's only 8.
Okay.
It's a good enough spot to attack, and blocking is just horrible all the time, so just keep going. His last card's a Tarkus Command 2, and that attack gets him in a range.
Chandra going to come across for 2. Ross is going to fall down to 7. Whirling Outburst is going to cause Chandra to untap, and now this time it'll get the flip. Shoot ya, put you to 6. Chandra Roaring Flame going to come to the party. See how Matthaei wants to use the Planeswalker. And it looks like gonna shoot down Abbott, which means it has to go down to 3. The plus ability goes to players. Excuse me, it's gonna go down to 2. The plus ability goes to players, the minus ability goes to creatures.
Correct.
In this instance, I think it's a can't stop, won't stop attacking.
Yeah, there's not a lot to be gained on defense.
I suppose the question you ask is, am I going to go after Chandra or you?
He's got a Tarkus Command as the last card in his hand, so if you assume that Matthaei is going to shock one of your creatures, then you can simply attack and a Tarkus Command to fizzle that. The mirror match is one of the most stressful matchups I've played ever.
Given the body language of the players we're watching, I can tell.
Matthaei's at 10 right now and has to consider chump blocking 2 creatures.
Yeah. Could die right now.
Could die no matter what he does right now.
Yep. Tarkus Command. 3 damage is going to go over to Chandra. Goblin Token's going to bite the dust. Zurgo, yeah, that's not going anywhere. That stays put. Zurgo's been causing Tom some hiccups here. You thought, can't block with it. Thought it might die there. No, it's just gonna stay put. Now Tom might play a backup Zurgo because it can block.
Well, it kind of can block. The issue here is if Matthaei has Become Immense, he simply becomes immense before blockers and kills him.
When Matthaei has anything, it's over.
No, he can beat a lot of stuff from here. He can't beat the combo because you never can, but everything else Tom is okay against.
He's dead to a Tarkus Command too.
No, he's at. Oh yeah,
because he can't block.
He can't block. Yeah.
I think there's a handful of cards that are pretty bad news.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There's a land. Here's Abbott. Trigger. Ooh. Hate to see that one go. Last card in hand for Matthaei is Teamer Battle Rage.
Trading a Teamer Battle Rage with a Zurgo right now is a little rough. I think Matthaei just needs to keep his board intact for as long as possible and hope to draw to the kill.
Okay. And we saw Tom use Teamer Battle Rage defensively last game.
Yeah.
And it'd be really helpful for him, but this might be an instance where I'm just drawing to the combo.
Exactly.
Yep. Here comes Tom with the attacks because, well, not going to attack.
Can't be Become Immense. It's 3 attackers versus 1 blocker or 2 blockers on the way back. So it just looks like this a lot. You're trying to go through your head, is there some way that I can play around stuff? And eventually you draw the conclusion, no, not really.
I feel like that's the conclusion that you just draw a lot, which is nope.
And Matthaei's got lethal on the way back on the table. Teamer Battle Rage plus Abbott is a kill.
That's good enough to do it. Here's the attack. Teamer Battle Rage. That'll trigger prowess. That's double strike.
Yeah, that's 6.
Tom's hand, a Tarkus Command, and a land. And now we get ready for game number 3 as Matthaei able to tie things up here against Tom Ross. Winner of this game going to the top 8. You know, we watch Tom play a lot, obviously. And for me, this is really unusual. He's uncomfortable.
Yes.
I can watch, when he was playing Infect, there's no one more comfortable. When he was playing Boss Sly last year and winning 2 invitationals, no one more comfortable playing. Knew everything he wanted to do, knew all the lines of play, how to sideboard, what the opponent was going to do before they did it.
I can tell, based on, I have a suspicion at least, based just on body language and speed of play alone, that Tom has not played a ton in the mirror.
Yeah. It just feels like he's kind of guessing on some of the turns on what to do and just giving it, you know, his best knowledge. Because with the mirror, if you're experienced, as you mentioned, it's just kind of a turn them all sideways, fingers crossed type approach. There are times when it's appropriate to maybe pump the brakes a little bit, but there's a lot of thinking about decisions, and obviously the high pressure situation he's in right now. But when we see Tom playing for top 8 a lot, be it with Infect or something, there's no more comfortable and confident guy on the table.
The first couple times I played the mirror match, I was doing exactly what I'm watching Tom do right now, which is try to play around everything, make sure that you have the pump spells covered, try to posture yourself as a very defensive deck in the mirror match, try to kill as much stuff as possible, so on and so forth. I did not find that to be a winning recipe. A little bit of that can go a long way. If you can break up the boards or have timely removal spells, that can be very helpful. But more often than not, the game can't be managed that way. The power of the combo, the amount of size it generates, just trumps any attempt to keep the board clean.
These players are going to take a look at their opening hands. Fall Creature Collection here with StarCityGames.com, where we have some of our favorites, of course, on playmat sleeves and player bundles.
Yeah, you see the whole fall collection here: the hippo, the otter, the reindeer, and Penguillian Click, all available playmat sleeves and player bundles over at StarCityGames.com/creature collection, or over our dealer booth at any of our opens or any Grand Prix we're at.
Winter 2016 will be on the way here soon enough. I suppose autumn will be as well, but for now, it is fall 2015 with that creature collection. It's game number 3 about to be underway here between Ross and Matthaei. Ross will be on the play. It looks like both players are going to keep. It's a Zergo Bellstriker to start things off. Over to Matthaei. We're going to go. Zergo Bellstriker, the draw for him. He's going to start with a Bloodstained Mire. Down to 19, he's going to go. Basic mounted on the way, and we'll see what spell he wants to play. Could be a Fiery Impulse, Swift Spear, Zergo. A lot of different 1-drops in this deck. It'll be Zergo here for Matthaei.
They wave at each other as they're passing by.
They do. A couple copies of Fiery Impulse in hand here for Tom. Atarka's Command as well. Unclear if he's got green mana just yet. He's going to kill He's going to use Fire Impulse to kill Zergo, get across here for 2. Back over to Matthaei. We're going to go. Hordeling Outburst to draw a huge one in the mirror. There's a Mountain. Here's a Swift Spear coming across. Ooh, boy.
Gutsy.
Tom going to get to pick that off with a Fiery Impulse. The draw here for Ross.
A little surprised to see Matthaei go for it there, because he has Temur Battle Rage in hand, and Titan Strike's one of the better cards you can pair with it.
It's a Mountain. That's a Dragon Fodder. 2 Goblins pass the turn back over to Matthaei. Matthaei going to draw his card for the turn. It's a copy of Atarka's Command. He's going to sacrifice a Wooded Foothills, go get himself a Cinderglade, you got to imagine, and a Hordeling Outburst. And I think Tom may have a copy of Boiling Earth in hand already.
But even with a copy of Boiling Earth, the game is by no means over, because if Tom can't follow up with more pump spells, Matthaei can easily slow the game down with follow-up plays, and then we're in a holding pattern. Wait to see who can assemble the combo first.
Yep. And it seems like we've seen players in that holding pattern in game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Someone trying to spike the 2 pieces together. There is Hordeling Outburst. 3 Goblins on the way. Ross will draw a card. He's also got Atarka's Command in hand. Again, I think he's just missing green mana at this point. Swift Spear. Boiling Earth. This is a lot. 2, 4, 5, 6. Matthaei going to fall down to 8. Last card in Tom Ross's hand, I believe, is Atarka's Command. I do not think he's got anything else over in the grip. Matthaei gonna draw a card. It's a big draw step for him. It's a Swift Spear of his own. You can see 2 Battle Rages and Antarctic Command here for Matthew Matthaei. He'll just pass the turn back. Is it green mana here for the boss? I don't think so. I lied.
Never mind.
Excuse me. That's Windswept Teeth. And if you ever played against a Tarkara and they attack like that, it's not a good feeling. Swift Spear is going to jump in front of something. But we're going to see Tom crack that Windswept Teeth in just a moment for a Cinderglade or a Basic Forest. And it may not have been Temur Battle Rage plus Become Immense as the nut draw. It was the old school way of doing things with the Tarkus Command this go around.
Yep, just a clock of creatures backed up by a Tarkus Command.
Matthaei going to play Temur Battle Rage. Tom going to sacrifice this Windswept Teeth. Matthaei is not going to like what he sees on the other side of the table, unfortunately, as there's an Tarkus Command. +1/+1, deal 3 damage. That is going to do it. Tom Ross going to win this match here over Matthaei. 2 games to 1. The Atarka Red Mirror goes to number 8 on our Season 4 leaderboard, and that is an absolutely huge win for Tom Ross. He's going to make the top 8 here with Todd Anderson, with Logan Mize, and keep his head above water for this Players' Championship race.
A very good summary of the matchup right there. Matthaei had Whirling Outburst in his hand that last turn. Could have cast it, make some blockers, make some trades, try to get to next turn. Instead he cast Monastery Swift Spear. What's going on there, do you ask? The answer is Matthaei can Atarka's Command in theory to get out of that turn, block and keep his creature alive. Temur Battle Rage is in hand, and Matthaei can draw to Become Immense for the kill. Matthaei still can win the game, literally, not stabilize the game, literally win the game the next turn if he's able to block out of that turn, because the Atarka's Command puts Tom down to 17. He already has Temur Battle Rage in hand, has the requisite cards in graveyard for Become Immense. Become Immense plus Temur Battle Rage on the Swift Spear is 6, 7, 8, 18 points of damage. So he potentially has lethal on the way back from that turn, which is why trying to block in the mirror match and play defense
is useless.
It is so hard to try to do. I got into this trouble all the time the first time I played, because every red mirror match I've ever played my entire life has been be on the draw, be defensive, eventually win with a creature land or a curse scroll or some like 4-mana flyer or something along those lines. Use all your shocks, keep your life total high, win the game that way. And this matchup is totally different from that. It is so explosive, you can die from nowhere, and it's often worth just throwing caution to the wind, because trying to play around everything, you end up playing around nothing.
And the big thing, and it's funny because you've kind of